So we will dedicate our session to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON. And I will pay my obeisances to my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and my Shiksha Guru, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So we are on the chapter 10th, and its title is Opulence of the Absolute. It has 42 verses. Last time we covered verse number 1 to 5. So today we will be starting from 6th and 7th, and then we'll do the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita, that is from 8 to 11. That is the essence, the summary of Bhagavad Gita. And from 12 to 18 is Arjuna acceptance of Krishna's supreme position. From 19 to 42 is Krishna's opulences. So do you remember what we studied in verse number 1 to 5? Will anybody like to revise that?
I think Krishna has reiterated Arjuna to listen to his opulences. I think that is verse number 1. That's what he has said.
Yes, he tells that I will give you that supreme, that's my Paramam Vacham, supreme, and that is about my opulences, my greatness. And then he, in the second verse, he told that nobody knows me.
Nobody knows me.
I am unknowable. Even great sages and demigods also cannot know me because I am the source of all. Yeah. So I was there before nothing was there. Like I was the one to create everything. So everything came after me. And then in the third verse, he said that somebody who comes to know that I am unborn and beginningless, he will become free from all sins.
All sins, yes.
And in fourth, he said that I am the origin of all the qualities whichever you see in this material world. Okay, about 20 qualities were mentioned in that verse, and we discussed each of them in detail.
Fourth and fifth.
Yes, fourth and fifth verses. And today we'll be doing the sixth verse. So in the fourth and fifth, he told that I am the basis of all these qualities also. So everything which you see, whether good or bad, I am the source. Okay, nothing can exist without Krishna. That was the message in that. Okay, and then today we will be doing verse number 6 to 7 from this section, and then proceed to 8 to 11. So Krishna, the unknowable and source of all. So this is the 6th verse. In this 6th verse, Krishna is saying that the 7 great sages and before them the 4 other great sages and the Manus, who are the progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. Bhagavad Gita 10.6. So when in 4th or 5th he says that all the qualities I am the source, now he's saying not only of the qualities, I am the source of each and every living entity also. And actually in this verse, Krishna is in a case like describing the genealogical synopsis of the universe, like how this existence came into being. And this is a topic of Bhagavatam. We will be studying this in detail, like how when Krishna wanted to create, what happened. So he expanded in first Mahavishnu, and then from Mahavishnu came Garudakshai Vishnu, and from the stem of the lotus, from his navel, Brahmaji was born. And from that Brahmaji, then he meditated for around 100 demigod years, and he was given the knowledge from within how to create. So then Brahmaji, then he did the secondary creation, and from Brahmaji, then it is told that 4 these sages. 4 sages means Sanat Kumar, Sanandan, and Sanatan. So all these 4 great sages were born, but these 4 great sages were not interested in progeny. They were like not inclined towards that. So in Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Brahmaji got angry, and in that anger, Rudra was produced from between his eyebrows, and Rudra was like Shivji. So this Shivji was of a mixed blue and red color, and then he asked Shivji to create. But Shivji, what did he do? He created beings which are similar to him, like that of nature, of ignorance and all. And so many Rakshasas type things, like not that thing, but similar to Shivji's, the population started increasing, and then Brahmaji again got afraid. Like he told Shivji not to create more, and then he then produces the seven great sages, and then the Manu, Swambhavu Manu, and from that Manu, then the progeny starts, and then all the beings, then these living beings came into being. So it's a very detailed description in Bhagavatam, which we'll study. So this way, in this shloka, Krishna is saying that actually I am the basis, I am the forefather of everything. Okay, I am the prapitama. Like Brahmaji can be called as Pitama, and I am the prapitama of this entire universe. So this way, in the seventh verse, he concludes, like, if we accept Krishna's power, what will happen? Okay. So somebody will recite this verse.
I will go ahead, Mataji. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo vetti tattvataha so vikalpena yogena yujyate natra samshayaha. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt.
So now, after telling about this opulence, what opulence? Like that everything came from him, every quality and every living entity, and I am beginningless and I am unborn. So if somebody gets convinced of this opulence of Krishna, this mystic power of Krishna, then what will it result into? Okay. So once we have faith, yes, Krishna is the basis of everything, Krishna is the source of everything, then we will engage in unalloyed devotional service. We will do exclusive bhakti, that is ananya bhakti. Without any doubts, our doubts will be removed, and we will engage in unalloyed devotional service. So, in this purport, Prabhupada has said that if we come to know that someone is great, okay, and we all know that Krishna is great. Yes, he's the basis of all, he's the source of all. Now, in this chapter, it further describes his opulences, and when one comes to know how Krishna is great, then we automatically surrender. In this material world, also this happens. If we come to know about some greatness of somebody, then people surrender unto them. So Krishna is the greatest. So definitely, then we will surrender unto him and take his complete shelter and perform all the lives of bhakti. And Krishna is saying there is no doubt in this. If somebody is fully convinced of my opulence, then he will surrender unto me. And this surrender will be more talked about in 18th chapter when we come there. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So in the purport of this verse, Prabhupada says this. So somebody will read this.
I'll read.
Go ahead, Mataji.
The highest summit of spiritual perfection is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one is firmly convinced of the different opulences of the Supreme Lord, he cannot engage in devotional service. Generally, people know that God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. Here are the details. If one knows factually how God is great, then naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord.
So it's like telling that if we come to know that how God is great, then we become a surrendered soul and engage in the process of devotional service. So this ends the first section of this chapter, and now we will move on to the next section, which is the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. It is from verse number 8 to 11. It's called the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So in this, there's 10.8 verse. 10.8 we can say is the basic summary, and 9, 10, and 11 elaborates on this 8th verse, and this together makes the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. So we'll see, and in the 8th verse, Krishna talks about all the three things which we have learned, that is Sambandh, Abhidaya, and Prayojan. How, we will see. So this verse says that Krishna is the source of everything. Somebody will recite this shloka.
अहं सर्वस्य प्रभावो मतः सर्वं प्रवर्तते इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां बुद्धभावः समन्वितः.
Thank you, Anvi. Very nice. So, I am the source of all spiritual and material world. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu means I am the source of all spiritual and material world, and everything emanates from me. So, this line tells about the relationship, like about Krishna, about God, and like what is the relationship between us and Krishna. Like Krishna is our source. Then the wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service. So that becomes Abhidaya. That is Bhakti. Bhakti is the Abhidaya. Bhakti is the process through which we will get the Prayojan. And what is that Prayojan? Prayojan is praying. That is, we will have love and devotion for Krishna, and we'll worship him with all our heart. So that becomes the loving reciprocation with Krishna. So this verse is talking about all the three, that is the Sambandh, Abhidaya, and the Prayojana. And now we'll see that we have discussed about that Krishna is the source of all spiritual and material world in 7th chapter also.
Yeah,
Okay. So 7.6 it was there, and from 7.3 also Krishna says that this is my Apara Shakti, then my Para Shakti, and then in 7.6 Krishna says that all created beings have their source in these two natures, that is the spiritual nature, superior nature, and the inferior nature. Inferior nature is the material nature, which is made up of 5 material elements, and the superior nature of Krishna is we all, like the Jeev Prakriti. So, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. So, in that verse, also Krishna says that I am the basis, I am the source of everything, I am the origin of everything. Whatever you see in this material world is either spiritual, like superior energy, inferior energy, or a combination of these two natures of Krishna. And that we have discussed before also. And after this verse, Krishna says in this verse, that matta parparam nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre mani vinaya. That there is no truth superior to me. There is no reality which is higher than me. I am the absolute truth. Everything rests on me. I am the basis of everything. As pearls are strung on a thread, similarly, nothing can exist if I am not there. So this confirms that Krishna is the source of everything. Krishna is the origin of everything. And we have discussed this, that in Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji also says this. This verse is very famous. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinde Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful, and spiritual body, and he is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. So he was only present before anything came into being. And in Bhagavatam, in Buddha Gita also, Shivji glorifies Krishna. So somebody will read this.
My dear
I'll read it.
Lord,
Sorry, ma'am. You can.
my dear Lord, you are the topmost of all bestowers of all benediction, the oldest and supreme enjoyer amongst all enjoyers. You are the master of all the world's metaphysical philosophy, for you are the supreme cause of all causes, Lord Krishna. You are the greatest of all religious principles, the supreme mind, and you have a brain which is never checked by any condition. Therefore, I repeatedly offer my obeisances unto you.
Thank you, Padmaji. So, Shivji is also saying that you are the master of all the worlds. You are the supreme cause of all causes. You are the greatest of all religious principles. So, this is confirmed by everybody. And in this verse, in the purport, Prabhupada has given evidences from various scriptures, various Upanishads, like Narayana Upanishad and all, and Gopal Tapani Upanishad, that how in various Upanishads it's mentioned that Krishna is the original cause of everything. So various verses he has taken, Prabhupada has taken in this purport of this verse, explaining that Krishna is the source of everything and creation started from him. And one of the verse we have shown here from Varha Purana. In Varha Purana it is said that Narayana Parodevas Tasmat Jatas Chaturmukha Tasmad Rudro Abhavad Deva Sachat Sarva Gyatam Gataha. Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from him Brahma was born and from him Shiva was born. So, Narayana is the expansion through which everything came into being. And this is something from the purport. Will somebody read it?
Yeah. Lord Krishna is the source of all generations, and he is called the most efficient cause of everything. He says, because everything is born of me, I am the original source of all. Everything is under me, no one is above me. There is no supreme controller other than Krishna. One who understands Krishna in such a way, from a bona fide spiritual master with references from Vedic literature, engages all his energy in Krishna consciousness and becomes a truly learned man.
Thank you, Dipeshji.
Thank you.
So, in this verse, we saw that Krishna is the source of everything. And what happens when it comes to know? It's like iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhavs anvita. So, if we come to know, then we worship Krishna. And the way of worshipping, we have already discussed, there are 9 processes of worshipping Krishna. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Sparanam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. So, through which we show our love to Krishna. Bhava Samanvita. Bhava Samanvita means with emotions. So, we have to worship Krishna with love and emotions. Okay. Then Krishna reciprocates with us. So, we have to invest all our emotions in the moment of our meditation. That is the summary of this verse. We have to do bhakti, but we have to do bhakti with love and devotion, not with any grudges, not resentfully. If we are doing bhakti very grudgingly and we are not liking that process, then it will not show its result. So that component of love and devotion, bhav, which is mentioned in this, that is like the requirement to get the love of Krishna. Then only we can come back to Krishna. So now we'll move on to this next verse. Symptoms of a pure devotee. So Krishna says, okay, so if you are a devotee is worshipping me, then what he does, how he engages in my devotional activities. So matchitta madgat prana bodhyanta parasparam kathyantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotee dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So here we see Matchitta. Matchitta is the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. We know that wherever our mind goes, that there our thoughts are. If suppose somebody is interested in seeing cricket matches or going to movies, then his thoughts will always dwell in that. But a devotee, what a devotee does, his mind, his thoughts, everything, it is like in Krishna. They are always thinking 24/7 about Krishna. So, Matchitta. Their mind is always engaged in glorifying Krishna, in chanting his names, reading his scriptures. That is it. They cannot think anything which is other than Krishna. Then their lives are fully devoted to my service. These people, they say that devotees, they are Krishna is their life and soul. Okay, they can do anything for Krishna's service. So, because we have seen many devotees in the past, they don't care what will happen to them, but they preach in so many extreme conditions. They just want to spread the name of Krishna, and they don't worry for their own lives because they have already completely surrendered themselves to Krishna. So that is the meaning, that they are Matkat Prana. They are always ready to do anything and everything for Krishna. And what these devotees are doing, they are Bodhyanta Parasparam. Parasparam means among themselves, and Bodhyanta means they are enlightening. So these devotees, they gather in groups, they invite devotees to their house, they go to other devotees' house. In the temples also, they will meet with one another and they will share their knowledge, they will share their realizations with each other. And we remember in a Japa talk, Madhavendra Prabhu, he said that it's very important that devotees gather together, like on occasions and at times, and they share what they are experiencing in their Krishna consciousness. And when they share their realization and they share what they are going through, then what will happen, they can improve upon. And that will enhance their bhakti. That will help them in removing their faults and slowly uplifting themselves. So these devotees, when they gather, they don't talk about anything material. Their talks are solely about Krishna. They will discuss about Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's like Janma Karma Chame Divyam. They always discuss about these things, Leelas and pastimes of Krishna, and about Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, about the stories of devotees. So that is their sole engagement when they meet. And with their knowledge, they will enlighten one with each other. They will always regularly Nityam, that is Satatam, Satatam Kirtayantuma. So always they are glorifying Krishna and his devotee. And what happens when they do this? Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They derive great satisfaction. Tushyanti. Ramanti, bliss. They are very happy. They get extreme pleasure, that is spiritual pleasure, when they meet with one another and discuss about Krishna. So like somebody gets pleasure in seeing movies, somebody gets pleasure in talking nonsense with each other, or just going to parties and all. But devotees of Krishna, they derive pleasure only and only when they discuss stories and pastimes from Bhagavatam and philosophy from Bhagavad Gita. So that is the main source, pleasure-giving source to all these devotees. And in the purport, Prabhupada compares that devotee cannot think of his life without Krishna, as fish cannot live without water. Similarly, a devotee cannot live without thinking of Krishna. So somebody will read this.
Okay, Mataji, I will take. When the devotee takes shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of God. Then he cannot live even for a moment without being in contact with the Supreme Lord, just as a fish cannot live without water. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord.
Thank you, Rajesh. So when we take shelter under the lotus of feet of Lord, one becomes fully absorbed. That there is full absorption. We cannot even live even for a moment without being in contact with Lord or his activities for chanting. And we are always thinking Satatam Nityam about Krishna. As fish cannot live without water, we also cannot think of a life without Krishna. So then what happens? Devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities, and he also becomes Nitya Siddha, or we say liberated while being in this body on this material world. So these are the qualities of a pure devotee who has taken complete shelter unto Krishna. And Prabhupada also says about this Bhagavatam, that Bhagavatam is full of narrations about relations the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Therefore, the Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness takes continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and girl take pleasures in association. So he compares that as a young boy and girl meets and they take pleasure, similarly devotees when they meet together, they are always ramanti and tushyanti, derive great satisfaction and bliss. And somebody compares this like as a traveler after long journey, when he returns home, he feels satisfied, he feels comfort, he feels joy. Similarly, a devotee, when he goes back to Krishna, he discusses about Krishna, he derives the same pleasure, comfort, and joy. So, any questions? Okay, so we'll move on to the next verse. Somebody would like to recite this verse?
Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogantam yena mamupayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
Thank you, Rajesh. Tesham satata yuktanam. So, like last verse talk, what they are doing, devotees are doing. So, Tesham. So, those people who are constantly nityam are devoted to serving me with love. They are bhajtam priti purvakam. With love. They are serving every time with love and devotion, not grudgingly. So, what will be the result of that? The result will be, I will give the understanding by which they can come back to me. Krishna says that I give the intelligence to the devotees by which they can progress in Krishna consciousness. So, we know that this bhakti component is very important. Okay, they may be very intellectuals, philosophers. Okay, they may do mental speculations for years and years, but they may not come to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without that component of bhakti, they cannot go back to Krishna. But a simple devotee with a simple heart, who may not be intelligent, who may not be so learned, but if he is doing bhakti, he is performing devotional activities, then Krishna from within gives him that understanding that he can go back to Krishna in this very lifetime. So we know that story of a Brahmana who was not learned, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, why are you crying seeing Bhagavad Gita? So he said, he told that my Guru Maharaj has asked me to read Bhagavad Gita, but I don't know how to read. But by seeing the first page of Bhagavad Gita, I cry because I see that Krishna is so Bhaktavasalya. He has become a chariot driver of Arjuna, his devotee. So how much he loves his devotee, by seeing that love, I am crying. So it's like bhakti is so simple-hearted person who has no, like, who cannot read scriptures. Okay, still he can attain Krishna. So that is the message in this. The intellectual, we have to not intellectually try to scrutinize Krishna, like how is God. So many people question why he is God and all these things. We have to intellectually submit unto Krishna. We have to serve Krishna with love and devotion. So that is the message, that Krishna always grants intelligence to those who are sincere and serious in devotional life, and he will show us the path. Okay, how you can come, how he will bring us into association of devotees, and once he gets us into association of devotees, like how that association works, it depends on us. We may get association, but we may not take it seriously. So once by chance or by our own karma, if we have come in contact with devotees, we should try our best to get best out of it. And then Krishna will slowly show us the path, and he guarantees that ultimately you will come back to him. So
Mataji,
yes.
when we say understanding, is it also Krishna will reveal what is the relationship of the living entity with him? And also, what are the progressive other steps?
I always see like that Swarup Siddhi, Sharma Prabhuji always ask question. Yeah, go ahead.
Krishna reveals from within. Yes, like what is your relationship with Krishna, and like in further, he will guide you in the manner you want to love him. Ye yatha mam prapadanti. So whatever with whatever degree we are trying to serve Krishna, that to that level understanding will come to us. Okay, and we can progress. You want to say something?
You got the answer, Sharma Prabhu? What was
What
your
really
question?
you wanted to ask?
Yeah. So my question is, what is that understanding? Is it related to our relationship with Krishna? And do we really experience what is that relationship? What was that our eternal form when we are associated with the Lord before we came to this material world? And what are the other steps included in this? And I just wanted to understand.
Right. So basically, if you see the whole sequence, Krishna says that, yeah, if you theoretically understand that I am source of everything, and then among yourselves, we discussed that how these 10.9 is all about hearing, speaking, and remembering. And which is, if you see, of all the 9 processes, these are the 3 which are consistently repeated, right? Hearing, speaking, and remembering. And this is the sequence. First you hear, and then you have to speak. And when you do this both, then only will you be able to remember. If you just keep hearing without speaking, so without preaching, the remembrance, it's little difficult, So these 3. Now, when you do this, Tushyanti Char, you will be, you will have that enjoyment, spiritual enjoyment, right? And if you continue to do that satatam, right, in that relationship, yuktam, yukta means relationship, having understood Krishna's position, you discuss, remember him in that relationship, lovingly do devotional service. Bhajatam is not just singing, but devotional service, active devotional service. Priti Purva, lovingly. Then Krishna will give us the knowledge. Now, if you remember, in past we have discussed that, whatever we are reading is we are showing Krishna our sincerity, right? That how sincere we are to understand him, right? Because even Anantashesh is glorifying with his thousands and millions of mouths. And then also he is not able to completely glorify Krishna. What to talk about us, Kali Yuga people trying to understand, with Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavata. So Krishna says, whoever is involved in this devotional service, this process and method, to them I will reveal the entire knowledge. Knowledge means, Prabhuji, what happens? That if you read the purports of Bhagavata, right, which we are studying, you will see Prabhupada nicely explains. Like I was just going through 1st canto, 2nd chapter verses, which glorify the initial 11 verses of 1st chapter of 1st canto. Sorry, 1st canto, second canto. Sorry, 2nd canto, 1st chapter, first 11 verses. There, Prabhupada so nicely explains that this chanting in itself, it will reveal once you chant offenselessly. This chanting in itself will reveal everything, starting with form, his form, his beauty, his pastimes, his abode. Everything will be revealed to us. Revealed to us in a sense, Janma Prabhu, it will be like currently we are seeing each other. You will be able to see this. when Cheto Darpan Marjanam will happen, once you Sri Krishna Sankirtana. If we do this, the whole process which is described in these verses, that will cleanse our heart. When heart is cleansed, then Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Next verse will say Jnana Bhasvata,
Dipena Bhasvata.
Jnana Dipena, that it will be revealed to us in our heart. When that heart will be cleansed, it will be all revealed. We'll be able to see, all the pastimes of Krishna, and that is where, when we read about Acharya, previous predecessors, they see the pastimes, they see Krishna, they see their relationship, everything, not only our relationship, Shimo Prabhu, it's like live telecast, yeah.
Prabhuji, my question was, what else? That's what you answered. Thank you. Yeah.
So in the next verse, like Krishna is saying, like how we give that understanding? By destroying our ignorance. How he gives us that intelligence, how he gives us that understanding. So Krishna mercifully destroys the ignorance. Tesham evanukampartham eham jnana jamtamah nashyamatma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvatam. To show them special mercy at dwelling in their heart, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So what happens when we constantly contemplate on Krishna? This contemplation upon Krishna, like always 24 hours thinking about Krishna, doing devotional activities, that will lead to illumination from within. Because presently what's happening, we are like in darkness. We say then we are inclined towards material activities. Then we are in darkness. Okay, because we are ignorant. We are in illusion. So that's why we are not able to see what is what. We are not able to see that we are chewing the chewed. We are trapped in this material world. And once we start doing bhakti, then what's happened? Krishna, with the shining lamp of knowledge, he will destroy that darkness within, like a sun. When sun comes, then everything, the darkness goes. Similarly, when Krishna reveals us from within, like when we practice bhakti, then Krishna shows his special mercy. Tesham imanukampartham. Okay, so he does anukampa on us. By special mercy, we come to know that we have to like do what is favorable for devotional service and keep us away from what is unfavorable for devotional service. And once we keep practicing this, Krishna is there as Paramatma in our heart. He knows what's going on within our heart. So slowly and slowly, that knowledge, that bhakti, due to that mercy of pure devotees of Krishna, that darkness, that tendencies towards material enjoyment, sense gratification, all will decrease. A material fever will come down. So that is the like inference of this verse, that how Krishna will bestow his mercy upon us when we become sincere and serious in devotional service. Slowly and slowly, all our bad qualities will vanish and they will be replaced by good qualities, and we will like progress towards eternity, towards going back to Krishna. So in the purport, Krishna says that those who are engaged in pure devotional service, even though they may be without sufficient education, without sufficient knowledge of the Vedic principles, they may be simple devotees of Krishna, they are still helped by the Supreme God as stated in this verse. Only by devotional service, the Supreme Truth Krishna is pleased, and by his inconceivable energy, he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart, and with the presence of Krishna, who is just like the sun, the darkness of ignorance is at once dissipated. This is the special mercy rendered to the pure devotee by Krishna. And as the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. Because in 9.22, Krishna says, Ananyas Chintayantu Mam, who is constantly doing contemplation of me I preserve what they have and I give them what they lack. So ultimately, what one has to realize, what is that like in one sentence, the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, that Krishna is the supreme personality of God, that he is the origin of all us, and Jivere Swarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. We are eternal servant of Krishna. We have to engage in this devotional process. We have to develop that love for Krishna, and through that love, we can go back to him and engage in complete devotional activities, and we can reciprocate with Krishna with that love that he's our father and he's like a part and parcel of it. So that is the one line inference of Krishna, of the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita teaching, that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead and he can do anything. And you know that simple story of a cobbler and a Brahmana. That cobbler and Brahmana, Narad Muni was going to meet Krishna, Narayana, and the cobbler told him that, ask that when can I come back to Krishna? And Brahmana also asked the same thing, that ask Krishna when can I come back to him? And then Narad Muni went to Krishna and he asked him that cobbler and the Brahmana were asking when we can come back to him. So Krishna replied that tell cobbler that he will come back to me in the same lifetime, and Brahmana will take so many lifetimes. So he is so intelligent, he can recite so many verses, he has read all the Vedic scriptures, but it will take lifetimes for the Brahmana to come back to me. So Narada was surprised. So he told, how did you decide that? So Krishna said, okay, you just tell those two, Brahmana and cobbler, that what was I doing when you met me. So he told that you tell them that I was suing
Passing an elephant.
Elephant through the needle.
Eye of the needle.
Hole of the needle.
Okay,
eye of the needle. So and that Narad Muni went to this Brahmana and said that Krishna, he asked what Krishna was doing when you met him, if you met Krishna. So he was threading elephant through the eye of the needle. So the Brahmana could not appreciate that. Brahmana said, how it's possible? He didn't believe that. So now Narad Muni came to know that yes, Krishna told me truth, because he doesn't have that faith. Still that faith is not there. So it will take lifetimes for that Brahmana to go. And similarly, when he goes to the cobbler and he told him that Krishna was doing this thing, cobbler at once, he said, yes, Krishna can do anything. He had that faith. And then Narada realized that yes, though the cobbler doesn't have any sufficient knowledge, but he has that faith that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And that's why he can go back to him in the same lifetime. So the verse is that for going back to Krishna, only devotion and love is required. Okay. And though maybe we may do mental speculation for years and years, that will not help us. So Hare Krishna. So this is the last slide of today. If anybody wants to discuss anything.
The Brahmana gave the cobbler gave an example also, that if Krishna can bring such a huge banyan tree from just a small seed, then Krishna can do anything. So that's simple, the faith. And there's one more thing, which devotees tell us, that there is a difference between actual service versus just doing something, an activity and service. Devotional service versus any activity. When does an activity becomes a devotional service is when you are doing that activity as per the order of your spiritual master or an authority. Otherwise, you may be doing anything. We have to understand the basic thing, that why have we come down on this earth is because we wanted to independently enjoy. That was the basic thing. Now, that sort of mentality of being independent, I want to do the way I want to do, that is the easiest thing. We have been working in a company or whatever as per our wish. No one was, even parents don't tell us, even our wife, so it's same thing sometimes we end up doing in spiritual life also. We want to do spiritual sort of activities within spiritual environment also as per our choice. This is how I want to do something. But if an authority says that, can you do this? Then no, I have to do this and I'll do this. So that is devotees tell us that that attitude. I think so. Gaurang Prabhu highlight that in one of, I was hearing his Hindi Bhagavad. There is a 4-session Hindi Bhagavatam in which he clarifies that. So that attitude of submission, because many a times we understand that, okay, you follow Krishna's instruction, but for us practically, where can we get Krishna's instruction? Those instructions will come through evam parampara praptam, right? Through Guru. So Guru's instructions are as good as Krishna's instruction. So when you follow them, then it is real devotional service. Because Krishna, right, in what, 5.18, right? Tadvidhi parinipatena pariprashnena sevaya, right?
4.34.
4.34. So in 4.34 he highlights that, right? That how you should approach Guru, and then once you approach Guru, you follow him with submission, that attitude, then he will reveal everything to you. Tattvata. That is important also. And Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, if we study them it's with submission, we have seen that, and engage in devotional service, destination is not far. So we'll see, and we are already experiencing those things, that how our spiritual life together, when we are practicing, chanting and all the services, I definitely feel that it is improving, and I think so all of you must also be feeling that. I talk to each one of you, Harshad Prabhu also, so often. And everyone is feeling that change, the difference, that, yeah.
Because it is realized knowledge, it is experiential knowledge, it is transformation science. So when we are seeing the transformation in us, that when it's confirming that yes, Krishna is revealing that knowledge from within. Otherwise, how will we see the transformation in our lives? So it's changing us. That's why that is only revelation.
Mataji, this is a very important point that you highlighted just now. Yeah.
So that is a proof. That is a proof in itself that Krishna is revealing the knowledge from within. We are experiencing it at every step. Yes, definitely. Otherwise, how would we progress in spiritual life if that knowledge is not revealed to us? And what is that knowledge? That knowledge is the same thing, that Krishna is the supreme, and we have to surrender into him. We have to serve him with love and devotion. That is the knowledge, and it's like simple for those who are simple. Bhakti is very simple. It's complicated for those who are complicated. Yeah, simple thing. So many devotees, simple devotees, we have seen so many devotees in Vrindavan. Like Krishna is the life and soul. That's the thing. They have understood that. Once somebody understood that Krishna is everything for us, and that is the complete final revelation of knowledge unto him. That's all. So then why will he engage in any other thing other than Krishna? But still, we are still attached to those material things. So that is the process of removing that darkness, slowly and slowly. It's like once we have boarded on this verse, it will happen one day. That's the only hope, that darkness will be completely removed and that knowledge will be completely revealed to us when we completely surrender to Krishna. Okay, so we'll end this session.
Hare
Anything
Krishna.
else? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.